Hey guys, Geoff here, just giving you the lowdown. I'm going to be doing just a quick rundown. I was putting some food storage together tonight, so I've been working on our food storage for some time. It's something that if you guys just take a little small piece at a time, it's certainly not overwhelming just to put things away. Plus, even if you're not looking at doing food storage for a long period of time, I'm trying to have enough food put away for whatever emergencies could come. But even if it's just a matter of you're wanting to save money, buying in bulk and then breaking it down into usable portions weekly or however you do it daily, however it works for you and your family, it makes a lot of sense. So you're able to do things like walk into the store and buy a big 25-pound bag of all-purpose flour, knowing that, man, that may take you a couple of months to go through that. Well, that's a lot cheaper than buying five-pound bags. So if you did that and you purchase some of these products, and we'll go through these one at a time, you can stretch your dollars out. But if you're like me and you just want to have things put away for the what-ifs of the world, and there could be 1,000 what-ifs of why you'd want to have food put away, and then it's the 1,000 that you and I could think of, but then it's going to be maybe the 10,000 that we can't think of. So anyway, let's just go through a couple of things here. I'm going to start over here on this side. I fell in love with these storage buckets. I purchased them for the first time a couple of months ago and started putting away things. And there's several things I've learned, because I had started like with your standard bucket, and I just put my hand in the flour. All right, nice. But I had started with just your standard round bucket because that's the bucket I knew. And then I saw these square ones, and man, I really liked them. If you can see, one thing that's a huge advantage over these is that there's just no wasted space. With the round buckets, you can imagine you've got all of these areas here that then don't get filled in. So with the square buckets, you're using, and maybe you like us, you're a little bit space starved, where every little inch like that makes a big difference. And the second thing I like about them is that they're stackable. And so one of the things that works out nice, and they're not just stackable like, hey, you can put them on top of each other. They're made to stack. You can see that this has a channel here. You can see that's about a quarter to maybe 3/8 of an inch of a lip on that, and then it goes down in this groove, which again is recessed. You can see that recess. So these are actually made to nest. They're made to nest together. So it takes quite a bit, and I can start to tip that over, and it's probably going to go clear to about maybe 45 before it even starts to come out, because of that channel that's in there. So anyway, these are really, really nice. The handle makes it really nice to tote them around. And I found that even when you're putting away bulk, you still have to be able to move it. Sometimes these big old 5-gallon buckets loaded down with a very dense material. Now, flour is not so much dense, but if you try to put wheat or rice in one of those big 5-pound ones, it gets pretty heavy in a hurry. So I like having them a little bit. This is still bulk in my mind, but not bulk to the point where you can't really use it. So this is nice. I love the stackability of it. And so I've started here tonight going ahead and doing some cornmeal that we already put away, and then I'm on my second or third bucket of flour already. And one of the things that keep in mind is having good writing utensils. And I have found that these Milwaukee markers are great. Any marker can actually write and mark on a clean, dry surface. What I love about these, because when you get into doing this and you're doing quite a bit of storage at once, you're going to get a mess. And every once in a while there's going to be that mess. And these do great at marking when it's greasy, when it's a little bit wet, and they still become a permanent situation here. So really that Milwaukee is a great little tool to have around. But I've gone ahead and started with these, and this is a double layer of protection. What I've done is I'm using this bucket, which by itself, and you could do that. You could put your product, whatever it is, you could put it straight in the bucket. But I like it to give just that extra layer of oxygen protection and then also protection. And then it also makes cleanup of that box, makes that bucket reusable in a hurry. So because I put my product in that bag, you can easily take it out and make that cleanable. Now, another layer of like food storage protection are to use these guys, which are the oxygen absorbers. And as you can see, they tell you not to eat them. I guess I've never wanted to meet somebody who thought that was the edible part of it. But nonetheless, these are there. And you can always test them. You can feel how pliable and soft that is. As these go and absorb all the oxygen, they actually get as hard as a rock. And so look for that when you're storing your food. Look for ones that have become hard. I could open this up a year from now, and if these have gotten hard on me, I could actually swap them out for fresh ones. So you always want to keep your oxygen absorbers. You want to keep those vacuum packed, like these here. Keep them vacuum packed until you use them, and that way they stay fresh. But here I'm going to go ahead and throw a couple of these in there. There are all kinds of calculators that'll tell you how many you need. In my mind, you want to make sure that, really if you went too many, you can't have too little oxygen in here is the point. So if you put a couple more in there, you're probably just throwing away some money though. So do it. Now I try to get as much air out of here as possible, and you can do that by kind of squishing down on the bag, and you get a little bit of that. You can see there's that vacuum going on in there. A little bit of air left in there, you can see, but I've got my oxygen absorbers in there, and then I'm going to go ahead and put this lid on, and you can see this lid. You see that actually has a seal, a rubber gasket in it. So I really feel confident that between the bag, the oxygen absorbers, and this guy, and if I really was crazy and think, man, I'm really worried about oxygen in here, I could throw one more kind of just in the lid there and do it. Now, these lids, they're no joke. They do take a little bit of persuading to go on. So I hit the corners first, then come around and just make sure I have it on there. And that's on there. That is on there. You could trust that that's watertight, airtight, and all that. To get that off, and I can't do it now because in order to use this, I'd have to tear this tab off, and then that takes a whole band that actually helps keep this lid on tight. But really, when you do go to do it, you just put your hook on this bucket wrench underneath there, and this becomes your leverage to pull that up. And this is an absolute must. Don't ever lose this, as this is what makes getting back into your food a lot easier. And then, of course, it does allow you to tap on the corners. This is a little lighter duty than the big guy here. This is the persuader. But this will help you put lids back on if you need to go around and hit them like that. So anyway, a good combination. And again, you always want to mark what you have, because last thing you want to be doing is trying to guess what's in here. So before we forget, we're going to go ahead and just write on here. And again, you'll see how nice these Milwaukee's are. And I date it. You can put actual date if you want, but I think the month and year is plenty good for that. And we'll go ahead and stack these so you can get an idea. Again, that just is a super nice way. And I've stored here easily 15 pounds plus, probably pushing more like 20 pounds of dry goods that will last for years because of the process that we went through. The oxygen absorbers, the bags, and then the airtight buckets and lids. So a great way to put food away. And then lastly for tonight on our little discussion here, I'm going to talk about these Mylar bags, because the Mylar bag is also a very good way to go, and you can use these as a way to store food. And then you can either get the bags that fit the buckets, or the buckets or containers that fit the bags, and you can do these in smaller, like week-sized bags. I'd say this is more like a 2 to 3 week, and depending on your family and what you're making, it could be a month's worth in there. So you don't want to open up too much product at a time. doing it down here, this will allow you to do it in a kind of a really usable size. So I've got about 3 to 5 pounds of flour put in there. In the same process, I'm going to go ahead and just put a couple of oxygen absorbers in here. With this one, I could probably get by with just one that big. And I'm going to move it over here to the FoodSaver. And we'll talk about that after I go ahead and seal this up. Because you can put your Mylar bag in here. And if you haven't used a FoodSaver, this will be just a brief tutorial on it. Basically, it has two components. It has this vacuum channel. This one's nice because you can take it out and clean it. If it got some gunk in there from maybe liquid type things you're sealing or just even powder, it just comes right out, cleans. So you have this vacuum channel here that's going to be operated by that little hole. That's what sucks all the air out. And then it has this sealing strip right here. And it basically has a piece of metal underneath that plastic that gets super hot that then seals your bag. So this sucks the air out, this seals. With this Mylar one and this size bag, I'm not too concerned about getting every scrap or ounce of air out of there, but we'll do our best. And mainly I'm just looking for a seal because I know that oxygen absorber in that low oxygen environment is going to do real well. And this allows me to go ahead and lock it. You've got a lock on this side here, and then I'm just going to hit seal. I'm sorry, vacuum, not seal. Oops, stop. I did that wrong. I did that the wrong way. So that was just if I wanted to put a seal on it. Actually, I want to do the vacuum on it. So that's going to, as you can see, it's starting to suck that air out of here. And it's going to struggle with this one just a little bit because of the thickness of these bags. But it is in the seal mode right now. So you can see that flashing lights letting you know that it is it's sealing. And that's going to give me, with the oxygen absorber, with the seal for the air tightness, that's going to give me a good food storage type ironing seal. You can see I've got that seal going on along the whole top there. And most of the air is out of here. And like I say, this bag, heavy duty bag like this, is going to be a struggle for any FoodSaver, much less a countertop model like that. But you can see that this little FoodSaver is a great single product kind of countertop one. It has on board, you can put spools of bags on here, and you simply can make the size of bag that you need. In this case, I'm going to make one that's about maybe a quart size. So you just feed that through the channel down here and run this. This has a blade in it. And so you just run that across it, and that creates a nice clean cut. And before I go anywhere, I'm simply going to seal it, because right now and I've made this mistake, trust me, I've tried to put things in a bag that looks like that. So you don't want to do that. So while you're still right here, you can go ahead and just do a manual seal right on that edge. It works better if it's curved that way, because then it kind of just pulls itself right down where you need it. And again, you go ahead and lock it. This time I'm just going to hit seal. And so no air is getting sucked out of there, because if it did, it would just be pulling air out of this wide open end. And while that's heating up, you can see that the lights there flashing to let you know that it is providing that heat. When that goes solid, it's done. Okay, and then boom, off. You know it's good. So you can see that gave you a nice, beautiful, super trustworthy seal at the bottom. And now I can fill this bag up with anything. And since we're right here and I'm done using my oxygen absorbers, I'm going to go ahead and save these guys and put them in here, because again, I can keep using these as long as they stay pliable. So let's go ahead and just suck the air out of this bag and seal these guys up for our next food storage time. And again, if I followed my own advice, it's easier to put them in when the curve is going down that way. So let's go ahead and lock this, and then we will hit vacuum. And it's going to take a second, but it's going to pull that air right out of there. And you can tell it's getting to the end of that. It's because it kind of struggles. You can hear that motor trying to get that last little bit out. And then it moves from the vacuum to the seal. So a really nice way to preserve things. This did a great job. This is exactly what you're looking for on your oxygen absorbers, that's exactly what you're looking for. I mean, there's not 1 ounce, you can see. So that's going to preserve these oxygen absorbers for our next food storage session. And so I'm done for the night. I've kind of put away the things that I've wanted to put away, and done it in just a few couple minutes. So we just brought home a big bag of cornmeal, and we brought home a big bag of flour. Broke out this stuff. You can see it does not take up that much space to have this all out on the counter, and knock it out in about 20, well, optimistically 20 to 30 minutes, but realistically from cleanup start to finish to be about an hour. So anyway, that's kind of it for tonight. So I kind of hope you get something out of this. If you're looking for some ways to get in that food storage game, some great products to get your hands on. So check them out in the links. You'll see them all down there in our store. If you have any questions, don't feel free to comment. Don't hesitate to get a hold of us, okay? Follow us at the Lowdown, and we'll do our best to get back to you. But thanks so much for watching. Have a good night.
At one point you had 2.